Ladies and gentlemen, at the juncture, I want to invite our dear chairman of today's occasion, our distinguished, our daddy, the doyen himself, our dear pharmacist, Prince Julius Adelusi Adeluyi, as he gives us his famous opening address. Thank you so much, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're all here today by the special grace of God Almighty. May His name be praised. May His blessings continue to be with us in our actions, in our thoughts, and in our words. This is a pharmaceutical occasion, so I must pay my respect to two Ibrahims. The first Ibrahim is our president. Ibrahim, may you continue to lead us well. And may you attain your witness successful occasions like this. The second Ibrahim is Ibrahim Babashiwo. He is the registrar and he's a very powerful man. Has the right to withdraw your certificate. And so we're all here also under your notice and grace. You know you're a very forthright person, downright. Indeed, you are all right. Permit me, this is also a board of fellows get together to recognize somebody amidst us that has been associated with the board of fellows of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria for a long time. Indeed, I know he was the third chairman of the board of fellows in the early 90s. He's probably the oldest chairman of the board of fellows we have here. And when I was Secretary General of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, he was the Assistant Secretary, and there was nothing I could have done without him. And I refer to this very principled, brilliant man called Bruno Wako. I'm happy of that. And these are the things that encourage the younger generation. Imilao, you could go there. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I look around. Some people may want this hall to be overfull, but these are the times that we face. And I congratulate the organizers on this particular occasion. The chairman of the organizing committee, the Inspector General of Police, and your committee. This program is very well curated. It goes to show that when you want something well organized, ask the pharmacist. I count myself very lucky as I look through the program and I see an array of very well experienced Nigerians, professionals, whose attention and participation you have obtained to to speak to us today. And I want to congratulate you for getting these people together, even if it was the United Nations discussing this particular subject, we wouldn't have any better level of participation. I also want to, before I make my comments, I appreciate my Commander-in-Chief. He says, come and I come. He says, go and I go. And he is my carer. He is at the moment the president of the Nigeria Academy of Science, of Pharmacy. And usually, you don't find him in the Bavaria, and I think it is President Yakase that has forced everybody to stand in the Bavaria. Why don't you stand up and let people see you in the Bavaria? But talking seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I want to assume that we pharmacists in this hall, all of us have something in common. And that is that we are married to pharmacy. Not by force, but because we love pharmacy. We've gone through years of rigorous academic training. And at the end, we get married to that profession. And we find that when we marry that profession, there are some pimples on the face. And we look at other faces, but it's important to stick to your marriage to pharmacy, to take care of pharmacy, especially in times of difficulty. And that's what we are all charged to do. Philosophers tell us that a happy man marries the girl he loves, but a happier man loves the girl he marries. A happy pharmacist loves the profession of pharmacy he has married. And a happier pharmacist continues to love pharmacy despite all the challenges. May your happiness continue to flow. And today, the subject you have selected excites me. I look forward to learning and maybe unlearning from the fresh facts. Some people can say, why insurance, health insurance? And I say, why not? True, it's an old subject. As far back as 1883, the German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck had promulgated an act which he called the Sickness Insurance Act, directed as helping employees that were under the level of payment for convenience, just to assist them. And it was a roaring success throughout Germany in 1833. To think that it's not until 1999 that we had a decree, NHIS. Goes to show you Africa vis-a-vis the northern hemisphere in all professional attempts. And it was not until 2005 that it was launched. That's 21 years ago. We've had executives in charge. We've had media articles, and yet we have not moved. Are you blaming the executives? No way. Nigeria is very good at policy formulation, but almost absent when it comes to policy implementation. Something tells me that at the end of this discussion, we might find a way for pharmacy to play a unique role. Fresh ideas would come, even on this old topic. May pharmacy be so situated that Nigeria knows that we are value adding, especially when it comes to this national insurance arrangement. We can do it. We will do it. Somebody says, why pharmacists? Why not? Pharmacy is like the connective tissue in the healthcare system. And you know, as people of science, that the connective tissue supports, protects, and connects the functionality of various organs in the body. In the same way, where will the healthcare system be without the connective tissue called pharmacy? What part of the healthcare system would exist healthily without pharmaceutical products, whether the consumer products or the hardware products, equipment, and so on? So we pharmacists actually are right by saying we want to address this issue and see what pharmacists can do to potentiate strategies for implementation at last. So I congratulate you for choosing this topic, and I look forward to the various implementation recommendations that you would have. But permit me to make one or two observations. You are all fellows, and that's my assumption, of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. The Board of Fellows tends to be, from time to time, underestimated. Not by others, but by itself. My dear brother Uchenna, you know my views about the Board of Fellows. Mazi Bruno Wanko would follow me as I say one or two things. I became secretary of the PSN in '69 at the age of 29, and I found that there was absolutely very scattered information on ground for us to behave and act as a society. And I made a list of a whole lot of things that needed to be done in order to at least meet some requirements of, say, the Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain, where I had spent 3 months learning what they were doing. And the first thing that occurred to me was that we needed to promote the image. We needed to promote the optics of our profession. And I recommended this idea of fellowship. Of course, I was speaking to older people who felt, oh, who wants to create a class of pharmacists? You're a young man, why would you do that kind of thing? And these fellows can end up confusing the presidency of the PSN. But by 1970, I had put before the conference a constitution. Remember, at that time, till 1968, we didn't have any written constitution. Everything was done by empirical and conventional conversations. So we had this constitution, and I can recall that Section 8, subsection 2, referred to fellowship. It was discussed and accepted. The constitution itself was very short, about 2,733 words totally. Today, of course, you have much more elaborate constitution for the PSN, and it covers a whole lot of things. But the crucial year I'm going down memory lane with you so that you fellows would know that you have a noble heritage and nobody should take you for granted. Because being a fellow is not happenstance. Fellowship is conferred on those who have arrived professionally and pharmaceutically, and who by their character and learning and practice have distinguished themselves in areas of excellence. So by the 1972 conference at Enugu, I had prepared a 4-sheet memorandum to practicalize this idea of BOF. Bruno is here. He would know that the Ogunshakin was quite vocal. Agboifo, those of you who have heard of that name, was quite vocal. He became the second chairman. Finally, that resolution was unanimously passed, and page 4 of it had a list of 20 names which I had compiled to be the first set of fellows. That's 1972. Now, I'm telling you this now so that you make some corrections. I have seen some things as I was glancing through. It says 1971 was the first fellow. There was nothing like that. All the fellows, the first fellows, there were 20 of them on my list. They were unanimously accepted, but I call them 1 plus 19 because one was Ransom Kuti, who had passed on a short while before the 72 conference, and then other 19. To tell you that you had a noble beginning, we got the Chief Justice of the Federation of Nigeria, Dr. Teslim Elias, to do the swearing in one by one of the 19. Remember I said the very first one, Ransom Kuti, had passed. So at least you showed 20, not one and then a separate of 19. I want to tell you too that fellowship was supposed to do 3 things to the society. 1, to honor those who deserve it. And many of you are here now. Now we have over 100 people. These days, you can safely observe that there are some who are fellows who should not have been. And there are others who are not, who ought to have been. But as a leader, working with the PSN, you can bring integrity into the BOF realms. The second thing that the BOF was supposed to do was to give robust support to all matters pharmaceutical, especially the presidency of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. The BOF was supposed to be like a propeller of the aeroplane. The president of the PSN is the pilot. He decides when to take off, where to take off, and where to land. But the propeller supports by starting the engines, supplying the lift, and giving the algorithms to make sure that the airplane is airborne. And I hope that will be done. I'll go into details of that later. I just want to make just 1 or 2 more comments. I'm sorry I'm taking your time, but it is important for we pharmacists to realize that we didn't just drop from the skies. We are calculated, well-trained, scientific professionals, not to be taken for granted by any member of the health team. And I say this from my own experience. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 2 things are important. Leadership of the BOF, and 2, partnership or teamwork. Leadership, what do I mean? A leader of the BOF is a strong man in pharmaceutical matters. He has a place to stand. Whatever he says on behalf of the other members of the BOF should matter. Because my dream was that at the BOF level, we have a laboratory that can train quality leaders to ensure succession of robust leadership. But if the leader goes on an ego trip and goes into a popularity contest and leaves the essence of the BOF, katakata will start. And we don't want katakata because you're all mainly elders. When something is wrong with the profession, it's not the president you should call all of the time. When something is wrong, you must straighten it out. And I believe it can be done. The BOF can do a few things. It can help to redefine the purpose and the posture of pharmacy. It can help to construct the attractive index of pharmacy. What kind of people are we attracting from the undergraduate level? It can help to improve the traction of this profession. What is the gravitas of pharmacy? How much do we weigh vis-a-vis other professions? The traction is very important. It can help to improve the relevance of the profession, the respectability, the reputation of the profession. It can help to polish the optics of the profession. And it can help to make sure that the legacy of pharmacy is enhanced and recorded. When you are put here as chairman of the BOF, and you are doing so ethically, like my friend I call him a man of ethics, did in his time, popular or non-popular, but he got the job done. Then we have a leader. You can give a place to stand. You remember somebody called Archimedes. Archimedes of Syracuse in Italy was born in the year 287 BC. He was a mathematician. He was a physicist. He was a philosopher. You remember he was the one who rushed out of the pool naked and said, "Eureka, I have found it," and established the Archimedes principle on buoyancy. But he also did a few other things, like the lever system, from where you have this thing about leverage. I say that Archimedes is somebody you must study. When he was 75, he was so busy, so intensely busy doing his calculations that when the Roman soldiers came and said to him, "Up, up, stand up," he just looked at them with defiance and said, "I'm busy." And that's how he was killed at 75. But he survived. And he has a whole lot of quotations about him. One of them is what the Italians call da mihi locum standi, terram movebo, which means give me a place to stand and I will move the world. As chairman of BOF, we have given you a place to stand. We expect you to move pharmacy forward with programs such as this at BOR. So with your successors as well, under the supervision of our president, Ibrahim Tanko Ayuba. Finally, I ask you to please realize that pharmacy is a large profession. We need teamwork. We are stronger together.
the kind of warfare we're going through needs us to work together. And no matter what the nature of that challenge is, if we work together, we would always do it well. And that's what a gentleman, a philosopher, a Roman philosopher said, again 2 centuries before Christ. His name was Publius Syrus. And he said, Ubi concordia, ibi victoria. That wherever you have teamwork, there is success. May God give you a sense of teamwork. And may we have success for pharmacy, for BOF, and for all of us gathered here. I really thank you for getting me involved.
Àmọ́ mo ti ṣèbàrẹ̀ Èdùmàrè ọba tó láyé. Mo ti ṣèbà gbogbo àgbà tí ń bẹ níwájú mi ò dédé ọmọ. Mo ṣèbàrà wọn rìyá mi ọ̀pá kérò làké akérò alárúurú. Wọ́n ní kán fọwọ́ tèmi wọ mí òwe. Torí rọ̀wọ̀ ìkókó la fi ń wọgi.